Claire Julian has a guest over when they both notice her paper dragon wall ornament is swaying slightly. Zoom in and you'll see the very bottom swings back and forth, hardly noticeable unless you really were looking. There's no draft and the air conditioner is not on. They aren't sure what to make of it, so Claire half-jokingly challenges the ghosts to do better, which I'm not so sure was a good idea.
You have to do better than that. Thank you.
I was thinking that this movement could have been the minute hand of the clock hanging behind it, but Claire says that this clock doesn't work anymore, and now that I think about it, I didn't hear any ticking. Therefore, I think Claire probably has a poltergeist in her home, one that she should stop challenging. Seeing an object move in an abandoned haunted house may be a sign that you're not alone. Published to YouTube by Mo Sargi in April of 2020. The channel captured paranormal activity in a haunted house at 3 a.m. The haunted house in question is unsettling. Sitting deep in the forest, the wallpaper is peeling from the walls, and the state of things is decrepit. While taking all this in, Mo explains that this isn't their first visit here. He explains all they've already experienced in this haunted place, and they're about to be faced with even more. At around 4 minutes 40 seconds, some in the comments point out a figure moving in the far doorway. Later, at around 7 minutes 57 seconds, Mo and his partner hear a strange humming in the house.
Sounds like humming.
If that wasn't enough, as Mo speaks to the spirits around 16 minutes 40 seconds, the fan starts to move.
Is there anything here with us right now? Well, we do know you're here.
First clockwise, then counterclockwise. This is something that apparently occurred before. Mo explains that he has a sudden headache, which he's experienced previously at other extreme hotbeds of paranormal activity. Don't know about you, but I think it's time to close the case file on this haunted house. That is, if you want to play it safe. Ever have that feeling that someone else is here? YouTuber Exploring with Joe has. I'll let him explain.
Hi guys, got an experiment today, and I used the SLS the other day, and there was a figure lying on the settee. So I'm going to do a little bit of an investigation, just to see if there's anything in my house.
As he speaks to the spirits via the spirit box, his K2 spikes.
Can you say Jinn for me, if you are keen?
Jinn is here. Joe gets double confirmation.
Is this Jinn I'm talking to?
With the investigation complete, one question remains. Is Jinn a good spirit or an evil one? I suppose that would depend on what weird stuff the spirit has been up to in Joe's house. I'd keep a watchful eye on things if I was him. While exploring the paranormal museum known as Archive of the Afterlife, YouTube team Spirit Walk Paranormal encounters the afterlife in many forms. The first is a disembodied breath.
I just heard something from that corner.
Next, in the form of shadow figures.
2 shadow figures were captured behind me, coming from the corner where Charlie was placed. At the time of the encounter, I could feel something behind me, but had no idea what we caught until I was going through the evidence.
That was quite creepy, but I think it could have been the camera capturing a shift in the light. This next movement drives them to interrogate the spirits.
Who moved the white tiger? Stuffed animal, who moved that? Can you do it again?
A strange anomaly also shows up in their footage.
Can you finish the rhythm?
I've never seen anything like this before, and it's definitely not a light flare or anything of the sort.
This one looks like a digital flaw to me, as does this next EVP. I do hear a sound here, but I can't make out what they're hearing. As they're doing an Estes session, they hear something again. And then this haunted doll has a message for them. I wouldn't hug this thing, not if you value your soul. Nothing good happens at 3 a.m. This TikTok posted by Diego Speckers is yet another example of that. Just watch. Wow, that's pure nightmare fuel. What was that child doing there, amongst the hanging laundry? Its black inky eyes are a real giveaway. This thing's a demon. As the person backs off, you see it again for a split second in the gap. But there's nothing below for this thing to stand on. Don't know about you, but I think this is the real deal. Definitely a demon. Another reason to leave 3 a.m. to the owls. While exploring the Mount Morris Mystery House, YouTuber Spirit Walk Paranormal tried to unlock the mystery. As one of the crew is explaining about the strange happenings in the house, something strange occurs right in front of them.
Second girl disappeared completely. The second girl disappeared completely.
And then another one.
While I'm talking to the guys, a strange anomaly appears in the top left corner of the frame and moves right in a strange manner. I don't think this is an insect because of the transparency, and dust normally shows up in a sphere-like shape, but I cannot claim this is paranormal.
I'd say that was probably dust, but some things are harder to explain, and more strange noises are heard.
Can you touch this, please?
The spirits apparently want to imprison them. Maybe so that they will have someone to talk to. What does this spirit want? It wants its presence to be known.
There you are. Are you on my back right now? Can you get off? Can you get off, please?
But it also seems to be guiding them to something, or to someone.
Can you come into this room?
Or maybe it's warning them.
Are you trying to get our attention to the attic?
Although some of these EVPs are a bit of a stretch, I think, others seem very distinct, I do think something is trying to communicate with the paranormal team in Mount Morris Mystery House, but who or for what reason is anyone's guess. While exploring the Broken Bow Asylum alone, YouTuber Haunt Road TV captures this creepy message on the wall. And then they hear a spirit's voice. Listen closely. Although the voice is faint, I do hear it. The other noises are much louder and without explanation. What do you think is here? I think it's a trapped soul. All that's left behind is left to wilt in this abandoned house in the mountains. YouTuber Adam Mark Explores takes us on a journey into the past as he tours this haunting place. First, he comes across this old photograph.
Wow. Just mad thought to think that all these people have passed away now.
But it's as he heads toward the cupboard that he thinks the people in those photos are not long gone after all.
Oh my, what? Matt, the f***ing cupboard's just opened on its own.
No way.
I've got it on camera.
Let's see that again.
Oh my, what?
Did he maybe nudge the cupboard a bit upon approach? It's possible, but to me, his reaction sells it. I believe the cupboard popped open on its own without any help at all. Well, apart from the help of the ghost, of course. Danny keeps noticing footprints in the snow leading up to his house, wide and spaced far apart. He checks his CCTV system only to discover whatever is making the tracks is apparently invisible. 7 seconds into the video, snow patches fly up for no reason at all. Danny suspects that this is a ghost because absolutely nothing was nearby. The long tracks do kind of look like someone kicking their feet as they are being dragged, but I'm not sure what to think, so maybe you can help me decide. Michael Jackson may have made a spirited cameo in YouTuber Kelsey Davies' adventure in the Forest Lawn Cemetery. Accompanied by Omar Gosh TV, Kelsey enters the Los Angeles Cemetery, where the King of Pop was laid to rest in 2009.
Drawn to over here, like I just felt like I needed to look on these walls, and all of a sudden, he was sighing, and Margaret. Which is so creepy.
This is what happened during the team's visit.
This is Michael Jackson, close donor. Hey, are you here, Michael?
Is Michael have you met him? Do you know if Michael Jackson's here?
After that, Michael began to make music.
Is there someone here with us?
Using dowsing rods to communicate, Kelsey gets a reading.
It's moving a lot.
Look.
Ooh.
Did it? Are you the... Yeah. I'm so curious.
While continuing to speak to Margaret, she confirms that the spirit is not related to Michael.
Hey, I got a question for Margaret. Are you related to Michael Jackson?
We were.
Does that mean no?
No.
Okay.
Kelsey then really starts to become one with Michael.
My heart hurts.
Oh.
Like a heart attack. This person. How did Michael die? I know
Heart failure?
Heart failure?
Cardiac arrest.
That was his
That was his cause of...
And at last, Michael reveals himself.
Is this person here, is your name Michael? Can you cross the dowsing rods in my hand for yes and open them for no?
They are not alone.
Ooh.
It turns out something else is here.
Are you Michael Jackson?
Oh, it is.
Does Michael have company?
Are you a demon?
Maybe he's playing out Thriller in the afterlife. YouTube team HD Adam Paranormal finds themselves crying from fear in this mysterious abandoned village. That's because it's not totally abandoned. In the darkness of this derelict hut, they start to hear noises.
Kalk gidelim, kalk gidelim.
Ne oldu?
Kalk gidelim.
Ne oldu?
Kalk gidelim lütfen, kalk gidelim bak. Deprem oluyordu ya, depremin farkında mısın?
They ask the spirit to prove its presence.
Burada olduğunu kanıtla. Jinn!
With the light back on, the presence continues to shake the room.
Ve duvardaki şeyleri başka bir şey zannettim ben.
When they ask it to move the door, the spirit complies.
Önümüzdeki kapıyı hareket ettirebilir misin? Jinn!
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Kapıya doğru bak. Kapıya doğru bak.
The team thinks the entity playing around with them is a genie. I think, genie or not, whatever is here will soon be done playing. A YouTuber named Rifat claims that going to this haunted place in Palestine proved to be a psychological undoing. Let's see what was so scary in this paranormal exploration gone wrong. He seems to have trouble keeping his balance and stumbles backwards twice for no reason.
يا شباب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا شباب وانت جرب الله يقطع شر يوم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
At this point, I think he realizes there's no way he should be falling 3 times in 5 minutes and thinks a ghost could be near, as he is trying to decide if this is really happening or just his imagination. Some of the best paranormal EVP evidence ever recorded is caught on camera.
هذه قصة وانا والله العظيم خايف يعني ممنوع في الليل عن جد ممنوع يعني نطلع هيك كمان ايه ايش هاد.
Loud and scary screaming noises are coming from the woods. The screams of a human, most certainly not an animal.
يا من وين اطلع.
He doesn't investigate the noise because this could be a spirit setting up a trap that he is too smart to fall for. I'm glad he didn't go any further. If he had gone any deeper into the forest to see what it was, then this scary video might not ever have been uploaded. I have a feeling that he narrowly avoided getting ambushed by some group of bandits or even something paranormal. A ghost hunting team led by paranormal investigator Lavina goes exploring a haunted chapel in Dixon, Oklahoma, or they try to at least. Getting into the haunted place is not as easy as it would seem.
What the?
She went to open that door and it come back on her.
At 42 seconds, one of the investigators opens the door a crack and it slams back with an unreasonable amount of force. Something from the other side, something paranormal perhaps, does not want them to go any further. They take the hint and don't stay for much longer, but apparently something has no problem opening up their door and coming with them for the ride home, as evidenced by this paranormal activity caught on their ghost meter equipment.
Is there a speaker following us?
Oh my.
Their paranormal equipment flips out when she gets stern with the supernatural.
You need to leave now.
He said no.
Lavina must have asked too many questions because soon she goes into a trance-like state and begins to nod even though she was very active and alert moments ago. She stares at them with an expression they do not like or recognize. As they wrestle the ghost meter out of her hands, her eyes are not how they've ever seen before.
Lavina.
Lavina. Give me
we
that.
Gotta go. Look, we need to go.
Give me that.
We get out of here.
Give me that thing.
Even she does not recognize herself. Tell me if you think they're acting or not.
You see it? Oh my eyes are like glowing.
Like a bloodshot.
I am more skeptical, except faking this part doesn't explain the door slamming shut by itself, or the ghost meter responding to their specific questions in real time. With that in mind, I think this paranormal investigation might be real. The evidence was probably not worth it in the long run, considered they may have inadvertently forged a spiritual attachment to something beyond the grave. While driving down a macabre road, searching for souls, this paranormal team found one. Published by Thiago Furacao in May of 2022, a mysterious man made a cameo in their search, and it was a memorable one. Using a spirit box, Thiago tries to communicate with the paranormal while they drive down the creepy road between cornfields. When he asks if the spirit is there, he is answered.
Dela Thaís? Por favor? Ana?
No. Escutei, não. Pike, Chris.
But creepier than even the spirit is when they encounter this. A mysterious man is standing frozen in the road ahead, and he doesn't move. Thiago gets out of the vehicle to approach him. When he does, the man changes his posture.
Tiago. Ai, meu Deus.
Thiago races back to the car, and when the camera turns back to the road, the mysterious man has disappeared. Was this man the spirit they were communicating with? Or is there even more to fear with the living? Jada Blaze has accidentally caught something mysterious while taping a house in Denver, Colorado that she now suspects is haunted. Take a look at what she claims is a real ghost sighting caught on video.
Okay, here is the finished product. There's his shirt.
Here's this phone.
Something strange can be seen floating over her shoulder, and then whatever it is mysteriously disappears. The unexplained footage seems to show an object rapidly disappearing and reappearing in many different places at once, totally defying the laws of physics but not those of the paranormal. The creepy sighting was a ghost figure to her, and I wanted to know what this bizarre moment was to you. If you were thinking this was a dust particle, think again. The house just received a deep cleaning and is completely dust-free. That means it's either special effects or something supernatural. Help me decide which. What would you do if you encountered a figure from your nightmares in the middle of a forest? YouTuber Adi Riono shares this insanely creepy video of just such an encounter.
Ghost. On the ship again. Asylum!
After racing away, the cameraman turns back to see if the figure follows, but he finds that it has disappeared. Where did it go? Is it about to pop up right behind him? I hope not, because this is the thing nightmares are made of. This port city in western Saudi Arabia looks like the aftermath of a building collapse, or else some kind of terrible eruption, but it's none of that. It's actually just starting and the worst is yet to come. A massive plume of smoke spreads evenly across the horizon, and at 1 minute and 15 seconds you briefly get a glimpse of where it finally ends. There's no outrunning this event, and finding shelter is almost pointless. The cloud is growing taller by the minute as it heads towards them. The air is becoming gritty and it's getting harder to breathe. Vehicles desperately try to get away at the last second, but it's too late for any of them to get far, nor the cameraman for that matter, who seems resigned to his fate and makes no such attempt. This is a massive sandstorm, and if you haven't found shelter by now, you're in big trouble. The winds pick up and everything around him starts creaking unsteadily.
Yan, nandito na. Nandito na ang sandstorm. Parating na. Sige, sige.
Someone tell me what his last words are, and if you think he made it through this event.
Yan, oh. Hindi ka magpili dito.
Those are the last recorded moments before I assume the sand broke his camera. We may not get to see what happens next, but I doubt it was anything good. Either way, there's something about the possibility of this whole town getting buried alive that makes this video creepy beyond words. When you investigate haunted places, expect to be followed home. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, So That's Scary claims a spirit from a ghost ship followed them home. Originally published to YouTube by SDK Paranormal in September of 2020, the YouTuber explains, there is a lot of strange things happening outside, which we really do think is directly related to a spirit named George that followed us home from an investigation. So what happened? Robert explains in the video that ever since the team investigated the USS Edson, they've been encountering the spirit of George. The security footage shows a shadow appearing to knock on their door. According to Robert, they heard 3 knocks inside as this occurred. The spirit threw rocks, appeared as orbs in their photos, and spoke to them via EVP. This is when they set up security cameras and caught this on video. George shows up in the form of bright orbs, invariably a black shadow orb, which seemingly causes the chair to move. Next, the kickstand on the bike goes up of its own accord. The spirit is wild, but perhaps he just wants to be friends. On the other hand, he's throwing rocks. Who knows what he wants? Don't watch this video alone at night, warns a YouTube channel called Real Ghost Official. He must not know how brave the average Chills fan is after years of watching scary videos. Anyway, he's exploring some abandoned places in India when a startling discovery is made. Caught on camera is a pale, puzzling, wispy figure. A strange light that disappears into the dark without a trace. If there is a road behind him, then this could be the headlights of an oncoming car playing across the wall. Still, I will admit it is quite bizarre to have a light anomaly suddenly appear in such an extraordinarily spooky location, so a ghost sighting is not out of the question. If only he would have turned around, we would know for sure if this is from a car or not. However, turning around is the last thing you would do if you thought of an apparition in front of you. A watchman is sleeping in his chair at around 1 in the morning when a special visitor wakes him up with a racket. Published by Wokan High Official in March of 2022, the watchman enters the road and finds nothing. After zoning out again, something drops into his lap from the sky. Again, he looks for the culprit but finds nothing. Getting some more shut-eye, the motorcycle now starts to move on its own, and then the cane in his hands is kicked out from under him. When a distraction in the bushes wakes him yet again, he checks it out but again returns to sleep. That's when the woman in white enters the frame. She walks eerily past down the road, one arm outstretched to hold up her robe. She then re-enters, approaching the sleeping man. She sits and watches him a moment before vanishing. One of his legs is kicked out from under him. He ends up on the ground. Is this night watchman destined to be up all night? It certainly seems like this lady in white doesn't want him to sleep. A YouTuber named Jessie V and her sister Mandy are constantly hearing strange noises coming from the attic. They would have happily never gone up there, if not for their insistent fans who demanded to know the answer. They finally work up enough courage to take a ladder up there. Mandy goes up first and gets a really bad feeling. She's describing the general layout when they catch something that might have followed her back down. In a mirror on the wall is the reflection of a figure that is a quarter of the size of Mandy, whose much larger reflection can be seen right beside it. Whatever this is, it's standing right in front of both of them. Jessie turns the camera to reveal her father standing off to the side, but he is way too tall to be it. Also, this figure lacks any color or detail at all. Only later, when a commenter pointed out the creepy shadow person, did they go back and review the video. No answer was ever provided. Timothy Bartlett is exploring a water park that's haunted by a former guest named Billy.
Hi, is anybody here? Hi, Billy. I'm here.
Things are about to get real creepy real fast. Watch.
Could you move something again for me? Oh. Holy sh**.
A chair moves on its own accord upon Timothy's request for Billy the Ghost to move an object and prove himself to be real. Paranormal activity is possible, but the low quality resolution could easily hide a string if there was one. This was not done on purpose as the resolution is average quality for a 2012 phone camera video, so maybe it's real. A man is enjoying the park in Salford, England, when this unsightly tree gives him pause. Everything looks completely normal from this angle, but then when you get just a bit closer, a grinning symmetrical face appears. This tree does face playground equipment, which provides somewhat of an explanation as to how this all started. I'm guessing some kids must have stripped some loose bark off out of curiosity, which is natural enough, but this gruesome one-eyed expression that settled in its place is anything but. Here's a scary basement we should all probably get out of. Published to YouTube by an everyday Canadian in April of 2016. The Canadian says in the clip he heard a banging in the basement that wasn't the washer or dryer. His kids are asleep upstairs, and he's freaked out about the sounds coming from below. As he heads downstairs to the unfinished basement, you hear immediately what he's talking about. A loud bang in the darkness is heard off to his right. Still, he continues to descend. After turning his light on, he scans the room. The light catches a small toy shopping cart in one corner of the room that's apparently not supposed to be there, judging by the man's reaction. The little cart then starts moving on its own before zooming across the room towards him.
What the f was that? What the f?
This is where the video ends abruptly. We hope that the everyday Canadian made it out alive. Grandma, is that you? Published to YouTube by Mordecai's Captured Moments in April of 2021. Mordecai writes, "One night years ago, the chair on my friend's porch was rocking on its own. The video shows an old wooden rocking chair standing outside a pair of wooden framed glass doors. The chair begins rocking in an unusual fashion, not like it's been disturbed by a breeze or knocked by something, but as though someone is sitting in it, rocking and halting according to whim. Apparently this isn't the only scary incident that occurred in Mordecai's friend's house. She responds to a YouTuber that her house was so deeply scary that she never let anyone know how scared she really was. Thankfully, she moved 2,000 miles away from this haunted place. All she can hope for is whoever is rocking that chair didn't follow." When you're in the middle of the woods, alone and defenseless, the last thing you want to hear is this. This horrifying sound, according to its uploader, is a cougar mating call, but what it sounds like is a woman shrieking for her life in fear or inexplicable horror, coupled with the moaning horn-like sound of an unknown creature. If you hadn't been told this was a cougar, how would you feel hearing this in the middle of the woods? I mean, maybe it's just more horrifying knowing that it is a cougar, as it might just go for your face. Redditor Eli uses Reddit shares his opinion saying, "Hearing this without thinking it's a cougar would honestly make me blank myself," with many in the thread agreeing with that summatation. Others liken the sound to a woman having her life taken, while some think it sounds like a zombie breakout or a banshee. Further in the thread, however, Redditor The Lil Hedgehog claims that this sound is not in fact a cougar, but rather really is the sound of a woman shrieking from some police body cam footage, which has been dubbed into the video. Does anyone familiar with animal sounds know what a cougar shriek actually sounds like? Whether or not it's a cougar, I'd have to agree that if I heard this noise in the forest, I would surely panic. Do you hear that? Published by Indra Saputra Official in April of 2022. Someone is singing in this abandoned building. As Indra flashes his flashlight in the room, speaking to the voice, the sing-song continues for a moment, but then all is quiet.
Setelah gue gak bisa bro, aku gak main di center. Nah, katanya lama.
But then, when Indra tries to open the door, he can't get out. His camera light goes out and then starts flashing. As he turns around in the empty room, it's no longer empty. The light goes off again, and Indra is singing in the dark by himself for a time. The ghost girl is gone. What frights does this place hold? A demon sing-along doesn't sound like a good idea. This individual sees strange sightings in the sky. Creepy stuff hidden in front of our eyes, as she puts it. It would be easy to dismiss her notions as outlandish, except for one thing. She can back up her claims. You see, Sheila has caught weird things on camera. She zooms into the trees to find a creepy pale face with round black eyes staring back at her from the treetops. This could be a balloon or something else stuck in the tree, but it's far from the only bizarre thing she's caught on camera near her house. A short time later, she finds this odd light not too far from where she saw the face. 2 other lights are spotted in the sky in an odd formation that soon blinks away. Together, they do seem to, once connected, possibly form the outer perimeter of a much larger disc-like object. What are these strange silent objects that glow and grow? The unexplained lights do not look like a helicopter, and have no trail of a spotlight, so what could they be? Recently, I've come across some YouTube channels showcasing these images of what appears to be the Statue of Liberty, moving her hands slightly to the right. It took me a long time, but I finally found the original video and can verify beyond all reasonable doubt that this giant moving statue video is edited. It is from a 2006 upload called The Statue of Liability, made by a computer animator named RODC 2006, who says in the description that it was made using a program called Blender 3D. So if you should ever happen to see these images somewhere online in the future, now you know it never happened and who originally made it. Props to RODC 2006 for being so good at editing that he continues to fool people so many years later. Anyone who lives in this house is told by local villagers to leave it. YouTube channel 01 Supernatural Studio writes, "It is said that nothing happened to this house itself, but for some reason, after the original owner moved out, he could not rent it, and in the end it was left to be abandoned here. Let's see why." Upon entering, he finds an N95 mask hanging from a hanger.
然后这里竟然还亮着一个 N95 的口罩。
The house is abandoned, but the reason why is not yet clear.
这样子，你们多少都知道，这个屋子某方面听起来就好像有问题，对不对？然后你看，还有这个盒子。
In another room, he finds children's bicycles and a grain dryer.
真的，那脚踏车。 哇，干豆机耶！这个是以前晒谷物用的吗？
And in a corner, a rice threshing machine.
啊，对了，那个干燥机应该是谷物用的，这是打稻机吧？好。
He gets an EMF reading on the second floor.
磁场，2楼的磁场比刚刚1楼还要来得乱哈，这也是。 意料之中的事情。
He asks for the spirits of the place to show some energy, and they respond.
灵体的存在呢，若有的话，请给我一些能量上的反应好吗？有。有。
This room on the second floor is in complete disarray.
这个地方因为有做棉被，所以说我不太想踩过去，因为我前一阵子才被跳蚤咬。 但桌上还有那种红色的拜神用的蜡烛然后床。
Suddenly, the light on his camera goes out.
一会儿是，我的灯怎么突然熄掉了？只有深海红外线热显像你可以看，我灯自己突然熄掉了。
He asks a series of questions and receives immediate responses.
刚刚关机了，不好意思。 那我再想请教一下，他某方面来讲，是不是被你们牵走了呢？
He seems to have gotten the answers he was looking for. This place does look disturbing to me, but does that mean it's haunted? It seems you have to be there to know for sure. TikToker Queen Alex posted this haunting video to the site. The clip shows a phone strapped onto a stand, recording footage of a woman in the distance near a forest. You might have to watch this clip a few times to see it, but if you look at the tree to the right of her, you can see what appears to be a figure move from one side of the tree to the other. What is going on here? Is it a trick of visual trickery, or have we all fallen into some time warp loop? Whatever it is, it's seriously uncanny. I wouldn't go anywhere near that forest. A nice looking kitchen in the middle of the afternoon is probably one of the least scary settings possible. Well, I thought so too until this 3-second video proved me wrong. We've all jumped out from around a corner before to scare someone, but I've never really seen a YouTube video create that same feeling until this one. I have to give credit to Tyler1 for keeping the video as basic as possible and still getting the job done.
Rocking chairs moving on tune.
This YouTuber's house is so haunted. His possessions act possessed even when brought outside. Take this rocking chair for example, which he records moving on its own.
Not really that windy.
When he looks around at 1 minute and 20 seconds, you can see the flowers and trees are still. Nothing is blowing in the wind because there is no wind. Yet he makes a request to move the chair again. The ghost tilts the chair forward one time to confirm that yes, it is in fact there and fully aware.
Can you rock it some more? As long as we got a visitor.
This creepy area is reputed to be haunted by a young man whose life was ended by a passing train nearby. Are we about to see his apparition? Posted by Ghost Videos, this scary video was captured outside of the village of Stanstead Mountain, Fitchhead in the UK. The murky woodland path is mysterious enough, with its bare trees, black river, and heavy fog. And then this mysterious figure turns the mystery up a notch. A semi-transparent shape that's faintly human-like appears near the riverbank. A close-up of the figure shows it swiftly moving in and out of view, vanishing as quickly as it appeared. Some in the comments think this looks completely original. Others are wondering if the cameraman felt a paranormal presence in the moment. If not paranormal in nature, what could this be? Most people have home surveillance cameras installed for a security measure, just in case somebody attempts to break into their house late at night or an unwanted visitor shows up. But Helen Brookshaw's home surveillance camera captured something much more terrifying than a burglar. It captured an unwanted visitor, but not the kind you'd think or hope for. Focus your attention on the upper left side here. So let's count. 1, 2, 3 ghostly figures here. Not just one, not just two, but 3 in total. And they just seem to be moving in unison, sort of just back and forth in this circle here. And to add to this, it also looks like this happens at a graveyard because these appear to be tombstones. The people who own this surveillance system must live beside a graveyard. And that makes sense because the title of this video is Ghost on My CCTV in Graveyard Next Door. So the fact that not only did they capture 3 paranormal presences on camera, but the fact that this also happens at a graveyard, I think just adds to how bizarre and creepy of a situation this is. I can't even begin to imagine how creepy it would be to have your home so close to a nearby cemetery or graveyard, but that seems to be the case for Helen. What gives this video even more credibility is exactly that. The footage is filmed in a graveyard, which is obviously going to be populated with ghosts and paranormal entities, and in this particular video, it seems like there are at least 3 or maybe 4 of them moving around in a strange, almost glitchy manner. Who knows? Maybe these are the spirits of passed away people going to pay their other family members a visit. Posted by Cosmic Messenger 01, this video teaches you that what's ever lurking in the shadows isn't what you should fear. The shadows themselves are. Taken at the Campo Grande MS Penitentiary in Brazil. The grainy footage shows a dark gray barracks, appearing empty at night, although it's likely not empty, as clothes hang on wires out of each of the windows. Now watch on the bottom floor as something appears to be moving on the side of one wall. The shadow person begins to move upward before moving sideways and appearing to duck down behind some clothing. You can see the shadow duck out again, moving in an amoeba-like style, towards the wall and upward, before the shadow disappears out of sight. What is going on here? Is there a prison ghost here? Whatever it is, I don't want to find out. When a Jinn comes to play, it's generally Gloves Off, published by Hassan Barbar in June of 2021. This scary video was filmed inside a not-so-abandoned building. The building alone is frightening, but when Hassan arrives at this room, it becomes more so. The Jinn starts throwing things around, and when he enters, he gets pipes thrown at him. Things are being flung at all angles, so Hassan retreats into an adjacent room for safety, but the Jinn won't let him hide out forever. It shoves something in the empty hole where a doorknob should be, and soon it bursts the door open. Hassan re-enters the haunted but now quiet room. As he continues around the building, the Jinn gets angrier and angrier. This continues and doesn't let up. Eventually, he's had enough and goes to leave, but as he does, it appears he's pushed down the stairs by an invisible force. A lot of racket is heard afterward. It looks like a door was thrown down the stairs at him. Was this the Jinn's doing? It looks like he's not playing at all. I think everyone should be staying far away from this place. An unnamed European castle is the subject of investigation on a ghost hunting YouTube channel called Paranormal Mystery. They are hastily setting up a CCTV system for the evening's investigation when they realize the battery is being drained from all of them really fast. But right before the cameras power down, they manage to capture this ghost on CCTV.
Oh my god.
Holy! Tell me you got it.
A ghost walks by and dissipates before it reaches the last step. I don't know if this is computer editing, but the way it slowly shrinks and then goes away is more complex than a simple fade-out shot. This video was taken in 2008, so the video quality is actually quite good and still holds up to this day. Their surprised reactions make me think this could be real. A YouTuber named Simo Vlogs explores an abandoned building, which he and his friends stumble across a room on the top tile floor with upside down humans. They are taped many times over, and there looks to be no breathing holes. This room looks like some kind of art storage room, so maybe these are just projects. I'm not sure why they would be wrapped and hanged up like this, so if you're an artist and know what's going on here, be sure to let me know. I'm pretty sure that this video isn't real, because this room would probably stink way too bad to go near, and plus the smile doesn't exactly look like the face of someone who just came across a psycho's secret stash, but that's just my opinion. Never in a million years should you cross this bridge. Posted to TikTok by Real Horror Talk, a man on a motorcycle enters onto a narrow wooden bridge crossing a wide and fast-moving river. There are no railings. Let's watch. As he rides steadily across, he looks to his right and then to his left. The water is flowing rapidly past. He continues on as if he does this every day, and maybe he does. Those in the comments say when he looked left, they fell in the water. Others say it's like a terrible dream, but TikToker Trust Me has a more accurate reading. He writes, how my parents got to school. I think we've all been there. Shadows can be tricky things. Sometimes they're natural. Other times they lean more towards the paranormal. This one seems to be the latter. Posted on Reddit by user Ukire. The Redditor writes that he still has goosebumps after receiving this clip. Some in the comments admitted to being upset with yet another orb post, but then, after watching it all the way through, their yearning for nightmare fuel was rewarded. Although it just looks like the still image of a cell. Wait for it, and wait for it, and wait for it some more, and you just might be rewarded too. The Redditor wrote that his friend works the night shift here at this institution in a former police station. The room where this is filmed is not in current use, but in the past was a place where people checked out of custody. Some in the comments say the video looks legit. Others pointed out a creepy long face that makes a split-second appearance. Most in the thread comes to a consensus that this happenstance is very creepy and goosebump-inducing. Could it be a haunting, or something worse? Whatever it might be, it's certainly mysterious. Is there a giant panda lurking nearby? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Flower Sliders writes, took a walk on an abandoned road in rural Japan, saw this, not sure what to make of it. Local friends said he'd never seen anything like it before. The video shows a thick stalk of bamboo shaking dramatically, amongst other bamboo stalks.
Okay, that's weird, right? Why is it moving?
Yeah. Can we go? Why is it doing?
You guys not see that down there?
What?
Right there.
Not
Okay, why is it still moving?
The rest of the stalks are still, so what is causing this one to shake? Some in the comments think it's the Kadama, spirits in Japanese folklore that inhabit trees. Others think it could be an animal feasting on its roots or burrowing beneath the stalk. Spirits or not, it sure looks creepy. And to think before watching this video, a walk in rural Japan seems so peaceful to me.
I'm legitimately out wanting to I don't understand. I'm gonna look this up.
Oh, maybe there's some. Wait, still no, it's not. It's cut there, so they shouldn't be.
Well, some orbs do indeed appear like nothing but floating dust. Others act more strangely. Published to YouTube by Ryan Blake in April 2020, he writes, caught this on our night vision camera at about 4 a.m. This is a very used basement, and there really isn't any dust down there, since my wife and I keep it very clean. Don't know what to make of it really. The series of videos shows orbs on several occasions sweeping past the camera. The first one flies from the upper left corner down to the bottom right. The second up the right side of the screen. The third briefly appears after the YouTuber shuts the door at the end of the hallway to go to bed. And the fourth flies up to the right and then back down again, returning to the bottom left corner. Is this a case of bugs, dust, or other explainable events? Or could this be a spirit channeling these homeowners, attempting to be made known? If only we could ask the orbs what their motive is. While hiking through the Great Smoky Mountains in North Carolina, YouTuber Mr. Backyard Birding hears this bizarre roar. It sounds almost mechanical, but the YouTuber says it is the sound of a mythical, once extinct giant creature who is said to roam the mountains. The sound is heard repeatedly as the YouTuber continues through the forest. While some are mystified, others are sure this sound is not mythical but rather common. Having listened to some bull elk calls, I have to agree, but if I didn't know any better, this would shake me to my core. A paranormal investigation channel called Ghosts of Britain think they've met their match while exploring one of the scariest haunted places in their corner of the world. An abandoned house with an unsettling atmosphere and more creepy things in it than you can imagine. On the table, they find creepy pictures left behind by someone young. A family must have lived here. The drawing and the lone meat hook in the corner do not pair well. Somehow I doubt that it was used to hang plants. They lay down a motion detector next to a toy for whoever made the picture to play with.
We want to try and make sense out of this place. We want to know about its history.
It isn't long before someone takes them up on their creepy invitation, and that's when things get really scary even for a team of ghost hunters.
Bear's just gone. Did you see that? The bear was just pushed over. The bear was just pushed over. Do you know what? People are going to scream fake at this, you know?
They think no one will believe this ghost video is real, but I think it's possible. Their equipment reads out the word Brianna, and then the toy falls over like a paranormal entity trying to pick it up. If it was on a string, then the object should have fallen towards them, but it doesn't. It falls the opposite way. Perhaps the ghost of someone small is still trapped in this abandoned house, or at least that's what the evidence would suggest. The roots of British Columbia's historic Alexandra Lodge reach back over a century to the pioneer and gold rush days. While staying overnight there, YouTube team Ghostly Activities is having a physical reaction to the place.
You smell like something pushed back on the knees. Really? Like actually?
Yeah.
Shit. Can you do that again to Anthony?
With the spirit box on, the team is given a familiar warning.
That was fun.
It said leave.
The spirit is adamant.
Need to leave.
Leave.
Go.
Will they heed its command? Of course not. Later, while they're using the Estes method, they hear a distinct knocking.
We just heard a noise up here.
So just like a knocking.
Of wood.
And they feel something or someone's presence.
What the heck is happening right now?
It's like we're being surrounded.
Yeah.
They're gone.
No, they're not.
Is the team being surrounded? And with what intent?
Who's gonna die? Why would you say that?
I think the answer to that question is fairly obvious. On February 5th, 2002, Robert Pickton was taken into custody by a Vancouver police task force who had found personal items on his pig farm from a woman who had disappeared. There were no other clues aside from the missing belongings, such as a prescription inhaler and other items. In other words, enough evidence to hold him, but not enough for a solid conviction. Prosecutors needed more evidence, so on February 23, 2002, they sent one of their best undercover officers to pose as an inmate to try to get Robert to confess his actions. Robert hadn't had a friend in a long time, and was more than willing to swap stories with what he thought was a fellow like-minded psycho. What he revealed was absolutely horrifying. The undercover officer leads the conversation by saying the ocean is the best way to get rid of the passed away. Roberts is quick to correct him.
I found the best way is full something. Taking the ocean. It ain't good that.
With CCTV cameras rolling overhead, the undercover officer gets Robert Pickton to admit something he had not said to the detective in years. The reason they weren't able to find any of the passed away was because he had put them through meat processing equipment and most likely fed them to his pigs. When the undercover agent tries to get him to say more about what he's done, Robert gives us a glimpse into what a person like him thinks of the people whose lives he's taken. What's most terrifying of all about this is how they were nothing more to him than a number. He sees no individuality, nothing to make them human or set them apart. They are all the same to him, a number that he wants to make even for his own selfish satisfaction. Robert Pickton might have gotten away with all 50 acts, if not for this self-incriminating testimony, which was used against him. On December 11th, 2007, he was sentenced to life behind bars. He decided not to make a statement upon being sentenced. I guess he felt like he had already said enough. A camera pans across a white room filled with antique furniture and creepy collectibles, which is already bad enough, but when it stops at a tall old mirror, they seem surprised to find a childlike silhouette filling out the frame. As they are studying the child in their shaky gaze, a pair of identical orbs float above her head as two pinpoints of light become barely visible, almost like she is turning her head slightly. I guess this shadow child could simply be a large doll. However, even if this was the case, as far as I'm aware, only the eyes of the living can reflect light like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lifeless doll should never have glowing eyes. The person recording sees the eyes and tears up the steps in a hurry. They would later refer to the event only as the girl with sparkling eyes in the dark. The Mengier Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, claims to be one of the most haunted areas in the entire state, and there are plenty of videos to back up this statement. One of these videos involves a brother and sister who both suddenly get a strange feeling from the building and decide to start recording. They are exploring a very small and cramped area of the hotel. As they are discussing the possibilities out loud, the woman suddenly announces that she is extremely uncomfortable. You can't see it very well at first, but soon the camera zooms in and reveals 3 deep scratches along the woman's bare shoulder. They look fresh and sting badly. She says that she was simply sitting on the steps for just one moment, and the jagged marks appeared as soon as she stood up. Judging from this video, it looks as though she may have been literally cut by an angry ghost. Would you invite yourself into a demon's home? Published by Toppy in December of 2021, that's what this ghost hunter did, and he would live to regret it. He quickly realizes he is not alone. After hearing faint footsteps on the floor above, he sets up his camera in the darkness. That's when this happens. Later, he is trying to communicate with the poltergeist, and he receives an answer.
Это ты всех мучил здесь.
Will he heed the spirit's warning? No, he will not, and the demon doesn't like it.
Твою мать.
Would you stay a minute longer inside this haunted place? A minute seems too long to me. A person in Ukraine was filming a calm river one evening just in time to capture a humanoid-looking creature cross underneath of a bridge using all fours. As the footage shows, something is grabbing onto the underside of a bridge and silently making its way across. Exactly what the creature is remains a debate online to this day. Some people have pointed out that this could be a human, but others have noticed how its legs and arms appear to be the exact same length. It almost looks like it could be an animal, but I'm not aware of any animal from this region that likes to hang upside down from bridges. Besides, if someone had to go underneath a bridge like that for whatever reason, then they would either hang from their arms or else hug the bridge tightly while creeping across. This thing, on the other hand, just swings across the bottom like it's no big deal. Human or not, this thing definitely has a very bizarre center of gravity as it moves. A forest and nighttime is a terrible combination. That's what these men find when they set out into the area jungle in the darkness. Facebook user Kaiser Sharam shared this video of a peaceful walk through the moonlit forest. Just kidding, this is anything but peaceful. A couple minutes into the footage, a man points out something lurking amongst the trees, similar to another entry in this list. It appears like a woman with long black hair dressed in white. They keep their distance, only pointing out the figure to the camera. Later, they follow her into an abandoned building. Her long hair disappears around a corner. When they turn the corner, she's vanished. They search through the dark building, but don't cross paths with her again. That is, until they enter the dark and expansive forest, they spot a strange figure. It's not the woman, but appears to be something wrapped in a white sheet. When the man approaches to peer inside, the thing moves. What is it? Could it be some sort of ceremonial figure left to these men by the dark-haired witch? Whatever it is, it bows to the man again as he probes it and then walks away. What do you think this might be? What's inside? I don't think I would unwrap this gift. This old VHS tape from 1999 could have captured a ghost, but I need your help to tell if it's true.
If you look to the right of the two tombstones, you can clearly see a figure standing there dressed in white.
I definitely see the ghost in question, especially when you zoom in. There's actually a surprising amount of detail, and I can even make out the buttons on their shirt and possibly a long musket. At the same time, I have some other possible explanations as to what this could be. This could be the open space between two trees, in which case the vivid details are nothing more than a random arrangement of branches. This could also be a cemetery statue from afar. This was taken way before high definition, so it's hard to tell for certain, but I'd still like to get your thoughts. While exploring this haunted place, YouTuber Rodolfo Augusto and his crew are trying to escape the creature. Let's see if they do. They find a mysterious jar inside the home, but as they're examining it, a bang is heard.
Alguém abre?
Não sei.
Opa, cacete.
Quem tá aí?
Eu acho que é o vento, mano. Tá vendo? Ó, olha ali, ó.
They try to open the jar, but again hear a noise.
Não é evento, não.
Você vai tacar um negócio?
Foi reação.
They push this door open, but are too scared to enter.
Será que tem alguém aqui? Ui! Isso aí não é vento, não.
And yet it won't stop.
É vento.
Que é aquilo, velho?
Que é aquilo ali na porta?
That's when they finally see it.
Eu vi.
That's all I need for my dreams to forever be nightmares. When you go onto abandoned property, don't expect to be the only one there. Published to YouTube by Double Bins in January of 2008, this video will dissuade you from ever entering an abandoned home. The clip shows some adventurers exploring an empty home, or one that they think is empty anyway. The two-story White House appears to be in the middle of the countryside. As the boys approach it, its big empty windows are like empty eye sockets, giving the house an even more sinister vibe. They enter the house, which doesn't even have a door. It's wide open to whomever dares come inside. The place is an absolute nightmare. It looks as though something tore through the house and destroyed everything in its wake. The oven door is in the middle of the living room. As the boys walk through, the one filming scans the roof, which has a window open to the second floor. That's when they see they're not alone. A figure passes by in plain view overhead.
The roof is off.
Dude, oh my...
Needless to say, the boy who captures it on film immediately flips out, and they both race out of the house and across the field. Whether ghost or human, this is definitely something worth fleeing from. We've all done it, almost choked on something while distracted. But what should you do if you find yourself in this position while you're alone? This CCTV footage shows how a guy almost passed away while prepping a restaurant to open. The guy is doing his rounds, wiping down tables and getting everything in order, when suddenly he slows down, hitting his chest a couple times. It's clear something is going wrong, but he doesn't seem too concerned yet. He attempts to continue with his tasks for a moment, but then realizes this is serious. Walking to the middle of the floor, he bends to touch his knees and appears to be trying to stay calm. As he continues to pound his chest and bend over, trying to eject the piece of gum that's lodged in his throat, he starts to panic. He cannot breathe. He attempts to shout for help, but nothing comes out. While panicking more and more and getting increasingly unsteady from lack of air, he attempts to give himself the Heimlich with his hands. Still nothing. He then positions a chair to give him the Heimlich, bending over it and trying to fall the right way. Having already gone a couple minutes without breathing, he does this a few times. No luck. It's starting to look like a lost cause, but at the last second, the gum ejects from his throat. He is able to stand up again and looks incredibly relieved, as he should. He nearly passed away from a piece of gum. Published by El Paso, yeah. What did this garage's security camera capture in the cover of darkness? This mysterious figure breezes past, but from what I can make out, the stiff way it moves does not look human. Let's take a closer look. Its form too appears inhuman. Even considering the low quality of the camera, this doesn't look like any type of kid or animal I've ever seen. I'm fairly certain it's extraterrestrial. Do you have any theories? This footage was apparently found inside the Penhurst Asylum, which is a real abandoned place located in Pennsylvania. The footage contains 2 students exploring the clearly abandoned building, and while nothing too bizarre happens in this footage, the backstory and timing are enough to make you scream. The 2 student explorers were never seen again after this. Well, that is terrifying enough. I want you to focus on the timestamp in the corner. Notice how they are ending up in new spots in the asylum at a faster and faster rate. Near the end of the video, the pair end up in the forest at a rate where the speed they are traveling is simply inhuman. What do you think is happening here? If this footage is real, then it is a case where the happenings would never be believed, if not for it being recorded. This Aztec wind instrument has been terrifying people for hundreds of years, and you're about to be next. The noise is supposed to replicate your final screams, and is even said to haunt your dreams. Listen to this and tell me how stressed out it makes you, if at all. Here it is again, this time in a professional recording studio to get the full effect. I definitely can hear how this sounds like someone screaming for their life. Can you? Gorman Sujin is inspecting his new apartment with a camera to document any damages left from the tenants before him. He gets through all the rooms and the balcony without problem, but after reviewing the video later, he realizes that he is far from being home alone. A woman in white appears suspended in midair. I don't see a rope, but I will say she is next to the shower rod, and her feet are not touching the ground. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what became of the last person who lived here.